Hi, I'm Diane, your host of Epic Conversations. Thanks for joining us. And we're back again with my good friend David McClure. And David is well known on the Epic Conversations episodes. He's been on many before. David is director of the customer engagement at Andrew Womack Ministries. He has about 180 people that he needs to oversee. And David is a great leader. You know why? He loves people. And we're going to be talking about wisdom today. And if you're ever going to be a great leader, and you need to have a very important ingredient, and that is wisdom. And not just any wisdom, godly wisdom. And so, David, today, where I'm going to ask you, what is godly wisdom, and why is it so important that we have it?
Well, first off, I would say this: wisdom is wisdom. You know, the definition of wisdom is the same. It is the appropriate application of knowledge. That's wisdom. So whether it be worldly wisdom or godly wisdom, it is the appropriate application of knowledge. Now I look at it this way: wisdom from God and wisdom from the world could look the same. They could sound the same. Mm-hmm. You know, I could say something that, well, that sounds like worldly. You could learn that in school. Well, it's true. But everything that is worldly as far as wisdom goes, you know, can all be attributed back to God, you know, as far as wisdom goes. Mm-hmm. I think godly wisdom has several facets to it that can vary from one to the other. So I'm just going to read. This is from James. First off, 1:5 says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives generously to all without reproach." So my question is, but what if you already feel that you are wise in certain areas? Do you still need to ask? You know, let's say you're really good at business, really good in accounting, really good at applying the word to situations. Mm-hmm. Do you still need to ask God for wisdom?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. The question now becomes, when do we ask? You know, I think back on Solomon. You know, God gave him wisdom, so we think Solomon regularly sat down and, so, God, what do I need in this situation? Or did he already have it in him? So I'm just wanting to encourage everybody that we have the Spirit of God within us, which means we have access to all the wisdom of God. Mm-hmm. And we just need to pull it out, and sometimes we need to ask for it, even when we feel like we have the wisdom for the situation.
Well, you said originally wisdom is, read that about knowledge, right? Wisdom is the proper application of knowledge?
Correct.
So the first thing that came to me was you need knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you have no wisdom to apply it to.
Absolutely. And that is a great segue.
Okay.
So knowledge is the accumulation of truth and facts. So first you have to have the knowledge of truth and facts. Understanding, the Bible talks about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding all the time. Understanding is the proper arrangement of truth and facts. Mm-hmm. And wisdom is taking all that knowledge and all that understanding of truth and facts and applying it.
And applying it, and that's key.
Yeah.
Because you can, just because you know something in a particular area, if you're a real estate expert, mm-hmm. or if you're a business expert, or whatever the field is, that's just the knowledge. You haven't applied the wisdom to it yet. Mm-hmm. And if you did one particular deal one way, then now you have another deal just because you did it the way God may give you a different answer for the mm-hmm. second business deal. They're not necessarily the same, even though the facts mm-hmm. and data may be the same.
Didn't God do that a lot in the Old Testament too? Like mm-hmm. with David, you know, here's how you take this battle, here's how you take that battle.
That's good.
So I do have another scripture, and this is from the, I can't think of the name of it. The translation starts with an A. The Amplified. The one I never read. James 3:17. We're talking about what is godly wisdom. Well, James tells us. Mm-hmm. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, meaning morally and spiritually undefiled. It is peaceable, courteous, considerate, gentle, reasonable, willing to listen, and willing to yield.
I like that, peaceable.
Yes, I missed that one, sorry. Full of compassion and good fruits, without partiality, it's not self-righteous, and without hypocrisy and self-serving guile.
Oh.
We don't want guile anywhere.
Right. That's not a good thing.
And so that's godly wisdom. That's wisdom from above. So you could almost say, now maybe going on a limb here, but you could almost say, if the wisdom that you bring to a situation fits all those things, it may have just come from experience you had, it may have come from schooling, but if it has all those things, is it also godly wisdom?
Well, if it has all those things, and we have the Spirit of God in us, and then we have that umpire of peace on the inside, I would say we heard the godly wisdom part of it.
Yeah.
Because God gives us peace, and we're led by peace. You know what, the story I really liked, David, in the Bible that you brought up was the one about Solomon with the babies. Now, that was good.
Yeah.
You want to share some of that? Tell us, or do you want me to tell it?
No, I can tell it because there's actually two that I always think of in the Bible that was wisdom. But in the natural, we would say they were so far from wisdom. So the first one, before we go to Solomon, the first one was when Jesus said, "You must eat my flesh and drink my blood." And we know all the followers got whittled down quickly after that statement.
They got offended at that.
If we know what understanding, knowledge, and wisdom is, Jesus spoke wisdom that the people did not understand. But it was truth, and it was a proper application of the knowledge that he had from the Father of what was going to take place.
But why did they got offended, David?
Well, they got offended because their understanding was that they really needed to, grab a fork and knife and go partake of Jesus.
Physically and the physical. They were looking at it in the natural, where godly's wisdom is super high. It's superior. It's in the spirit realm. He was referring to that.
Exactly, and they didn't understand it. They didn't understand it. They didn't have knowledge, and so when he said it, it just blew their minds. Now Solomon, we know what he asked for, and God gave him wisdom and lots of other gifts at the same time. But when the two women came to Solomon with a baby, and one woman's baby had died, and so she had taken the other woman's baby and claimed it to be her own. So they went to Solomon to try and rule on this.
Because they were both saying that was my baby, right?
Exactly. And so they said, Solomon, what do we do? And Solomon's answer, can you just imagine if you were in a courtroom and Solomon says, just cut the baby in half and give half to each of them? Everybody in the courtroom would have been, what is going on here? You can't just kill the baby. And yet the wisdom he had said when the actual mother heard that, no, just give the child to this other woman. And he says, okay, give it to that woman. That is the real mother, because the real mother loved the child, and it was more important the child lived than who the child lived with. And so Solomon's wisdom was, just do this. And to the crowd, they would have just thought Solomon was nuts. And yet it solved the problem with the truth.
I really love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just so awesome, because it was just beautiful.
Yeah.
It's the love. He was able to get at her heart through love, through the wisdom, godly wisdom, and find that love by just making that statement. Oh, cut the baby in half. And the one that rose up was the one that had the love, because that was her baby.
Right.
Oh, that's so beautiful. That's what godly wisdom does.
It is.
It reveals the truth. And did you have a fun?
We just need to come off our high horse to a degree. No matter what you're wise in. So 2 weeks ago, I went on my semi-annual camping trip with God. And the very first morning, as I'm sitting there reading, God said, okay, David, now I need you to start seeking me for my wisdom and my revelation. And, that's when I started going to work. Well, what exactly does that mean? And how do you tell the difference? And I will be quite honest, there are probably going to be times that I act in wisdom that I think is my own, that was really from God. And I don't think he's wanting a scorecard. No, David, that was my wisdom that you just spoke. He just wants his wisdom out.
Yeah.
And he's given us wisdom. And how many times might we do something and God like, man, that is a great idea. I wish I would have thought of it. So he just wants his wisdom out there, because the wisdom from God and the wisdom from his people will impact the world.
Amen. That's for sure. It will.
So I would just say, seek wisdom.
Seek
above
godly
all
wisdom.
things. Seek wisdom, and then just learn to apply it. And when you miss it, well, I was just practicing, as Dave Dwell used to say.
Well, wisdom's a principal thing, it says in Proverbs.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's really good.
So I will close with this.
Okay.
So one of the books I took on that camping trip that had just been given to me, and so I didn't even realize I had it until God spoke that word to me. And it was about 20 minutes later that I sat up from reading, I looked across the table, and other than the book I was reading and the Bible, the only other book I brought was one that had just been given to me. And it's from Greg Moore, Pastor Greg Moore, who also teaches the Bible College, great man of God. And the book was called Walking in Wisdom. So
he taught on that at the Summer Family Bible Conference. He taught a little bit on that.
And I read that book in a day while I was up there. And, in Pastor Greg fashion, it's full of funnies. It's full of real stories and how the wisdom of God solved different things. And so I highly recommend that book.
Awesome.
And then just seek God.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
That's wisdom. Thank you so much, David. I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that too. That was awesome. Godly wisdom. Wisdom's a principal thing. We look forward to seeing you next time. And in the meantime, have an epic day in the Lord. Hi, I'm Diane Grubus, and I've started a ministry, and I want to bless you. I'm so excited about it. DianeGrubus.com. Go to the website and check out all the wonderful things that we have in store for you. We have some great epic conversations with some powerful guests and some teachings, free downloads. And we would love to have you join us, love to have you partner with us. We appreciate you, and we want to hear from you. So check out the website, and thank you.